Many personality types push themselves forward to be understood, seen, or even acknowledged, but the INFJ frequently does the opposite. They allow others to underestimate them, misjudge them, or even assume that they are weak. This is rarely accidental. It is a pattern woven into the INFJ cognitive wiring, emotional intelligence, and survival strategies. If you want to truly understand yourself and unlock your full potential as an INFJ, check out the INFJ Purpose Compass today. The link is in the description of this video. One of the first reasons INFJs allow underestimation is their instinctive habit of observing before engaging. Their dominant, introverted intuition constantly scans beneath the surface, tracking patterns, motives, and unspoken dynamics. Because of this, they rarely rush to display their strengths, insights, or capabilities. Instead, they hang back, watching silently while others reveal themselves. In this contemplative phase, appearing quiet, unsure, or reserved naturally causes people to assume the INFJ is less perceptive or confident than they truly are. The INFJ doesn't correct this assumption because their priority is understanding the environment, not performing within it. There is also a protective softness to the INFJ's demeanor. Their empathy and warmth can disguise the razor-sharp precision of their intuition. When someone leads with gentleness in a world accustomed to louder forms of strength, people often assume they are harmless or naive. Yet this softness is a conscious expression of their values, not a lack of backbone. INFJs know that showing their emotional intelligence immediately can open them up to emotional exploitation. Allowing others to believe they are less perceptive than they truly are becomes a subtle shield, a way to measure who deserves deeper access to them. Another reason comes from their discomfort with self-promotion. They find it unnatural to highlight their accomplishments, intelligence, or talents. They do not inflate their capabilities, even when others do it effortlessly. Because they prefer meaningful impact over attention, they let their work or their eventual decisions speak for them. Many INFJs quietly excel in the background until a decisive moment unveils the depth of their competence. Until that moment comes, people often treat them as though they are average or passive, unaware that the INFJ has intentionally chosen invisibility over unnecessary confrontation. INFJs also understand the power dynamics hidden in perception. When people underestimate you, they reveal more of themselves. The INFJ sees value in letting others feel overconfident or unchallenged. This reveals character. It shows intentions. It exposes manipulative tendencies or hidden agendas. INFJs do not fear being underestimated. They often weaponize it as a strategic advantage. The less others expect from them, the easier it becomes to navigate situations undetected, gather insight, and choose the right moment to act. The element of surprise is something INFJs wield instinctively. There is an emotional component as well. INFJs have been misunderstood for most of their lives. They know the pain of explaining themselves repeatedly only to be misread again. After enough experiences, they choose selective invisibility over emotional exhaustion. Allowing underestimation becomes a passive way of avoiding constant explanations. If people misunderstand them anyway, why waste energy correcting every assumption? The INFJ learns to let superficial perceptions roll off their back while keeping their inner world protected for those who genuinely seek to understand. In social environments dominated by extroverted energy, INFJs often feel the expectations placed on them do not align with their nature. They prefer depth over spectacle, introspection over performance, meaning over noise. When they do not participate loudly, socially dominant personalities may dismiss or overlook them. The INFJ rarely fights this perception because they prioritize authenticity over assimilation. They refuse to act out of character simply to command respect. Their self-worth is anchored internally, not in the opinions of the crowd. Many INFJs also carry an internal philosophy that humility is more powerful than overt dominance. They see arrogance and loud confidence as masks that hide insecurity. They sense that people who need to be constantly recognized often lack inner stability. The INFJ prefers the opposite path, mastering themselves quietly. Their humility is not submissiveness. It is a quiet certainty that true strength needs no announcement. They are comfortable letting others assume they are weaker because they are not chasing validation. Trauma and past experiences also play a role. Many INFJs grew up in environments where being too capable, too perceptive, or too opinionated drew unwanted attention. Sometimes criticism, sometimes envy, sometimes emotional punishment. They learn to downplay their intelligence or intuition as a survival strategy. Even in adulthood, this learned quietness can persist, shaping the way they allow people to underestimate them as a form of emotional safety. At a deeper level, INFJs understand the complexity of human nature so well that they intentionally avoid intimidating others. Their insight can be disarming, their intuition unsettling. They learn early that showing the full force of their mind can overwhelm people. So they soften themselves, hide their sharpness, and understate their depth to make others feel comfortable. It's not deception, it is compassion. They don't want to make others feel small, even when they see through them with ease. There's also a spiritual or existential dimension to this. Many INFJs believe their purpose is tied to transformation, guidance, or healing. They know influence does not always come from being the loudest or most noticeable person in the room. Often, the quiet ones who are underestimated can create change more effectively because they understand the situation from angles others never considered. Their impact is subtle, gradual, and deeply felt. Visibility is not their goal. Alignment is. INFJs allow underestimation because they know that being truly known is a privilege. They treat their identity like a locked door, and only a few people are given the key. Someone thinking they are weak or simple is not a threat. It is merely a sign that the person has not earned deeper access. The INFJ keeps their real strength tucked away for the moments that matter. When the mask finally drops, when the INFJ speaks up, acts decisively, or reveals their deeper intelligence, it often shocks people who assumed they knew them. The underestimation becomes the setup for a kind of quiet revelation that permanently shifts how people see them. INFJs let people underestimate them because they value depth over display, authenticity over attention, understanding over visibility, and inner strength over external validation. Being underestimated doesn't diminish them. It protects them, empowers them, and allows them to move with the kind of subtle brilliance only an INFJ can understand. Another powerful reason INFJs allow underestimation lies in their relationship with timing. Unlike many people that value immediate assertion, INFJs understand that timing determines impact. They rarely rush to reveal their strengths because they wait for the exact moment when their insight or intervention will create the most meaningful effect. Until that moment arrives, remaining underestimated becomes a form of strategic patience. It keeps the environment quiet, expectations low, and pressure minimal, allowing their intuition to fully map out the human landscape before they make their move. INFJs also allow underestimation because they are naturally allergic to unnecessary conflict. They are not afraid of confrontation, but they see the emotional debris it creates. If asserting themselves too early or too strongly will stir tension, provoke ego battles, or disrupt group harmony, the INFJ chooses silence. They know that allowing others to assume they are less capable is often easier than triggering someone's insecurity. Their goal is not dominance, it is peace. Letting others misjudge them becomes a tool for avoiding emotional chaos. Their internal emotional processing also contributes to this. INFJs feel deeply, but they don't always express their feelings in real time. Because they take longer to analyze their own emotions, they often appear indifferent, passive, or detached on the surface. People mistake this calmness for lack of depth or confidence, when in reality, the INFJ is simply navigating an entire internal universe. They allow others to fill in those blanks however they like, knowing that trying to correct every misunderstanding would drain them emotionally. There's also their discomfort with hierarchical thinking. While many people instinctively create social ladders, ranking others by intelligence, status, strength, or influence, INFJs tend to reject such systems. They see humanity horizontally, not vertically. Because they do not position themselves within these invisible hierarchies, They make no effort to compete or prove superiority. Others interpret this non-competitive energy as weakness or complacency. The INFJ allows this because they refuse to play games that contradict their values. Their intuitive understanding of psychological projection also makes them strangely tolerant of being underestimated. INFJs know that people often see what they expect to see, not what is real. If someone projects their biases, insecurities, or assumptions onto the INFJ won't always challenge it. They observe the projection like a scientist studying behavior. To them, the misinterpretation reveals more about the other person than about themselves. Correcting it isn't necessary when the misunderstanding is diagnostic. Many INFJs also have a subtle relationship with power. They understand that the most potent form of power is the kind that doesn't need to announce itself. They sense that when people underestimate them, they remain unpredictable, and unpredictability is a form of control. It means others cannot easily anticipate how the INFJ will think, respond, or act. This invisibility gives them the advantage in both emotional and strategic situations. The INFJ can navigate complex dynamics with ease while others are still operating from outdated assumptions. There is also a deeper philosophical reason. INFJs are often more interested in truth than in perception. They place immense value on authenticity, personal growth, and emotional integrity. Being misunderstood, minimized, or underestimated does not threaten their identity because their self-perception is grounded internally. They measure their worth by purpose, not praise. This internal compass allows them to let others cling to shallow impressions without feeling compelled to fix anything. Another overlooked factor is the INFJ's subtle rebellion against superficiality. If someone only pays attention to loudness, charisma, or external markers of confidence, the INFJ will not perform for them. They will not amplify their personality just to meet someone else's shallow criteria for strength. If a person cannot see the INFJ's value without theatrics, then the INFJ will intentionally withhold the deeper layers of who they are. Underestimation becomes a quiet test, an evaluation of whether someone's perception can keep up with the INFJ's reality. INFJs also understand the emotional cost of visibility. Being seen too clearly invites expectations, obligations, and demands. When people realize how capable, insightful, or emotionally intelligent an INFJ is, they often increase their reliance on them. They expect more guidance, more support, more emotional labor. INFJs, who already carry a heavy internal workload, sometimes allow underestimation simply to protect themselves from becoming everyone's emotional anchor. Being underestimated is a small price to pay for preserving their mental and emotional energy. Another reason is that INFJs do not feel threatened by silence. Many people rush to fill quiet moments with self-description or self-defense, fearing that being misunderstood diminishes their identity. INFJs feel no such urgency. They know that silence is not emptiness. It is spaciousness. It allows them to think, recalibrate, and observe without distraction. If others misread that calm silence as cluelessness or insecurity, the INFJ does not mind. They understand their internal stability better than anyone else. Their selective nature also plays a role. INFJs do not want to be understood by everyone. They prefer being fully seen by a chosen few rather than partly seen by many. Allowing underestimation becomes a way of filtering connections. Those who are perceptive enough to see through the INFJ's quietness earn access. Those who rely only on superficial cues drift away. The INFJ uses subtlety as a natural sorting mechanism. The point is, INFJs don't mind being underestimated because they know something profound. True strength is revealed over time, not in moments of self-advertising. They trust that the right situations will expose their depth, wisdom, resilience, and insight. They don't rush to prove themselves because they understand that life will eventually present moments where their real power becomes undeniable. When this happens, the shift in perception is often dramatic. Those who dismiss them become startled by the depth they never saw coming. Those who understood them from the beginning simply nod, knowing they were right all along.